One more time, walking in there.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Nanda Yashoda Dalal Girivaradhari Gopal Nanda Yashoda Dalal Girivaradhari Gopal Nanda Yashoda Dalal Girivarathari Gopal Nanda Yashoda Dalal Girivarathari Gopal Nanda Yashoda Dalal Girivarathari Gopal Gopal, 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 Gopal. Gopal, 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 Gopal. Govardhana Dara Gopal, Govardhana Dara Gopal, Nanda Yashoda Dalal Girivaradhari Gopal. Nanda Yashoda Dalal Girivaradhari Gopal. Gopal, 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 Gopal. Gopal, 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 Gopal. Gopal, Gopal,
poseben dan. Danes je festival pojavitev gospoda Advaita Acharye. In seveda veste, da sem še tak kikiriki začetnik in bi bilo smešno, če bi kaj preveč govorila o njem, ker še nisem dosti brala. Ampak sem razmišljala, da v bistvu, da imamo Advaita Acharyo v našem domu. In da mislim, ko berem, pa vendar kaj preberem, koliko je to daleč, v duhovnem svetu je, ampak ne nazadnje, pa kot nek paradoks se pojavi, se je vsak dan tukaj, vsak dan je z nami. Tako da se danes lahko samo molimo, da tako kot je on pri nas vsak dan in je z nami, da tudi nam uspe enkrat, da pridemo v duhovni svet k njemu. Tako. Zdaj vas pa povabim na kirtan oziroma na govora arati ples, skupaj zaplešimo pred božanstvom. Ja, pardon, ja, ne seveda je, kaj me pegaš?
Thank you. And when they're conscious all the strings, I can hear it. So I pull it out. I hear, I can feel it, you know. And I felt all the time, I'm so bad, I'm so out of it. It's phone. This was, because this is it's a little late, but it's live. It was us in the past, in the future.
Che instrumento? Prabhu.
Haribol, Haribol. Shishi Pancha Tattva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Advaita Acharya Piransde ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Ki Bajayo Jayo Gaura Chande Arati Koshoba. Vita Tavane Jagamana Loba Dakine Nitai Chan Bame Gadadara.
大
Tattva ki jai. Bahu koti chandra jini vadana ujvala. Gala desheva
Hare
Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Bhakti Vinoda Deke Gaurara Sampada Diva Jayo Jayo Gaura Chande Bharati Koshova Diva Jayo Jayo Gaura Chande Bharati Koshova Jana Vitata Vane Jagamana Loba Jana Vitata Vane Jagamana Loba Gaurangera Rotik Shobha Jagadana Manaloba Gaurangera Rotik Shobha Jagadana Manaloba Gaurangera Rotik Shobha Jagadana Manaloba Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Udvashchatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Panchatattva, Jayo Panchatattva, Jayo Panchatattva. Jayo Gauranitai, Jayo Gauranitai. Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bo.
Siddhara Siddhushi Shiman, His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Samastapakacharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahangsa Prabhupada Siddhara Siddhushi Shiman, His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Raj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Shri Rup Sanatan Bharaganath, Shri Jeev Gopala Das Raghunath, Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai, Premjko Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar, Shri Vasudhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Radha Krishna, Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun, Giri Govindam Ki Jai, Mathuradam Ki Jai, Vrindavandam Ki Jai, Mayapur Dham Ki Jai, Navadvip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai, Ayodhya Dham Ki Jai, ISKCON Ljubljana Ki Jai, Gangamaya Ki Jai, Jamunamaya Ki Jai, Srimati Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Srimati Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai, Shri Gaurani Kai Ki Jai, Harinang Sankirtan Ki Jai, Brihat Madanga Ki Jai, Transcendental Bhakti Sushin Ki Jai, the appearance day of Shri Advaita Acharya Ki Jai, Mahotsava, Uttava Srila Advaita Acharya Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande Haribo, Slava Zarani Bhaktam, Slava Zarani Bhaktam, Slava Zarani Bhaktam, Slava Shri Gurui Shri Grangi.
Mislim da še ne sinha dela,
Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladaladaine Hiranyakashipurvakshaha Shilatanganakalaye Ito nirsingho parato nirsingho Yato yato yanitato nirsingho Bahir nirsingho hridaye nirsingho Narasimham marim sharanam prapade Tavakara kamala bare nakam madutta shringam Dalita hiranyakashipu anumbringam Eshabhadrita narahari rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Sabhadrita Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare
Sedaj pa povabimo njegovo svetost, Prananda Svamija, na Vyasasan, da nam bo predal poduk, kako se prepustiti duhovni energiji. Haribol.
Patita Bhavana Hetu Tamavatar Mosama Patita Prabhu Napaive Ara Apatita Bhavana Hetu Tavavatara Mosama Patita Prabhu Napaive Ara Patita Pavana Hetu Tavavatara Mosama Patita Prabhu Napaive Ara Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narada She joined Daya Koro Shri Acharya Daya Koro Sitapati Advaita Goshai Tava Kripa Pole Pai Chaitanya Nitai Siddhapati Advaita Goshai Tava Kripa Pole Pai Chaitanya Nitai Advaita Goshai Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha bhakti-yoga Srineva Prabhu Lokanatha Swarup Sanatana Rupa Raghunatha bhakti-yoga Srineva Prabhu Lokanatha Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sagamage Narottamodasa Dvaya Kora Acharya Prabhu Srinivasa Ramachandra Sangamage Narottamodasa Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramare Tamavina Kedoyalu Jagatam Sare Chaitanya Prabhu Daya Koramare Tamavina Kedoyalu Jagatam Sare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. His divine grace, Lacey, Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Gaur Premanande, Haribo, Slava Zabrani Bhakta, Slava Shri Guru, Shri Grangi, Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Tanavane, Namaste Saraswatunde, Gauravani Pacharane, Nirvishesha, Nirvani, Paskatyade Siddharane. Om Om Agyanatimanandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Kadati Swapadantikam Pandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Vrijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakan Zvitamscha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sudha-devi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevascha Patidanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Today marks the beginning of a series of festivals honoring the Panchatattva. Soon, within a week, is Lord Nityananda's appearance day, and then we have Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance day. And I don't know when Srivasa Thakur's appearance day is. Does anyone know? Anyhow, at least 3 of the Panchatattva will be celebrating. So with the exception of Gadadhar Pandit and Srivasa Thakur, at least the 3 Vishnu, 2 Vishnu expansions and 1, the Avatari, the source of all expansions, Shri Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is an opportunity to tell pastimes, but not about the pastimes of Krishna's Leela in the spiritual world, but pastimes about Krishna's Leela in the material world. Actually, we're living in Krishna's pastimes. And believe it or not, we're all incarnations. We're the full avatars. The Mudha avatars. We've also come down to be rascals and fools. So, Advaita Acharya, he's Mahavishnu, and I'll just read something from the Mahavishnu means we ran into the material world to get away from Krishna, and Krishna ran into the material world to try and catch us. But he's been having hard times eternally trying to get us back to the spiritual world because we're a little stubborn. It takes a few 100 trillion billion lifetimes for us to understand that this is not our home. In any case, he's very patient. He expands himself and he happens to be living in our heart. So there's no one closer to Mahavishnu in his expansion of Kshirodakshai Vishnu than the super soul in our heart, Antayami, who is, we have Karnadakshay Vishnu, Garbhadakshay Vishnu, and Kshirodakshai Vishnu. He's living in the ocean of milk, and he's also living in our heart. So, we're talking about today about the person who's closer to us than anyone and further away from us than anyone. Inconceivable. In any case, here's Mahavishnu, and this is Adi Leela, text, chapter 6, text number 4. This is about the glories of Advaita Acharya. Mahavishnu Jagakarta Maya Yak Srijat Maya Yak Srijat Yadaha Tasyavatara Evayam Advaita Acharya Ishvaraha. Lord Advaita Acharya is the incarnation of Mahavishnu, whose main function is to create the cosmic world through the actions of Maya. Because he is non-different from Hari, the Supreme Lord, he is called Advaita. Because he propagates the cult of devotion, he is called Acharya. He is the Lord and incarnation of the Lord's devotees, therefore I take shelter of him. So he's called Bhakti Samsayat, which means he's as the super soul in our heart, he's the original Acharya. The present Acharyas that we have in our line of succession, they're all manifestations of the mercy of Advaita Acharya. And what does he do? Bhakti Samshayanat. He tries to convince people to take up devotional service to Krishna, which is the only means by which we can regain our relation with Krishna. Although we're all devotees, we're devotees of illusion, but still we're devotees. We're pure devotees of illusion in the material world. And illusion reciprocates with us. That's why we're perpetually suffering in the material world, because although we're pure devotees of Maya or illusion, Maya does not like her devotees very much. Or at least she doesn't like, her job is not to encourage devotion to her. Just like she expands herself as Durga. I believe Durga has 8 arms, and some of them have weapons in them. And she rides on a tiger. I think it's a tiger. Maybe it's a lion. Anyhow, she rides on something big. And for her devotees, she cuts off their heads. So anyone who's a devotee of illusion is certainly an illusion. she gives her devotees what they want, and what they want is useless. But she gives it to them anyhow. Because after all, out of illusion, we're attached to this material world, which is nothing but accommodations and permutations of gross and subtle energy. In other words, it's all earth and fire and air and water and ether, put together in a way that makes it seem very nice. Just like if you're walking on the street and you found a bag of earth and water and fire and ether, would you take it home with you? Anyhow, Maya's made illusion such a shape that we take it home with us. And then we try to play around with it for some time. And then we put it back into the earth and we cry over it. But in any case, due to illusion, we believe that this is actually what life is meant for. We don't really understand what the purpose of life is. But Advaita Acharya, who actually is the one who created this playground for us, and he controls Maya, he comes because he gets very upset watching the living entities suffering. He's created the material world in order to end our suffering. In other words, somehow or another we've come to the material world to forget about Krishna. Krishna didn't say, hey, would you like to forget about me for some time? I have a good place for you to go. You can have fun for a while without me. Krishna never said that. He never wanted that. But somehow or another, someone must have gotten the idea. I don't think it was me. Maybe it was me. One of us got the idea, hey, let's go to the material world and have fun. Yeah, let's party. And here we are now. And we blame it all on Krishna. Krishna said, where do they all go? Oh, okay. I guess I'll have to follow them. And we blame it on Krishna. If we don't blame it on Krishna, we blame it on our mother. We got to blame it on someone. That's why we're suffering. It couldn't be us. We're pure souls. We're nice people. It's God who's bad. No, we don't even believe in him. So, Advaita Acharya, he creates the material world with his energy, and then he arranges it. He has what's called an efficient cause and the causal cause. The causal and the material cause. So Advaita Acharya is the efficient cause of the material world. He arranges everything for us. As a matter of fact, we desire, and then Advaita Acharya, he's dreaming, and in his dream he creates our desires for us. Now Advaita Acharya, in the form of Mahavishnu, he's dreaming. Because in our relationship with Krishna, or God in this material world, we're all asleep. So why should he bother? Why should he be so awake? He only puts half an effort into it, because we're only putting half an effort into it. The whole universes are asleep, so he's also asleep. Instead of everyone else, just like if you're driving a car sometimes, and the passengers fall asleep, then the driver starts falling asleep too. So Advaita Acharya is looking at the material universe, and everyone is asleep here, practically speaking. We're all just dreaming. So he said, if they're dreaming, I'll dream too. Ye yatamam prapadante, tam sataiva bhajamyaham. As they surrender, I reward them. So if they're all going to go to sleep, I'll go to sleep too. They want to dream, I'll dream too. So we're dreaming and he's dreaming, and here we are. But then he thinks it's time for them to wake up. I mean, 20 billion trillion years is probably enough time to stay awake. You try to wake them, oh, I'm just a little, just give me another 20 billion years, I'll wake up. It was hard in the material world. I need a little bit more rest. So he comes to wake people up. And of course, people who are asleep in the material world, generally they ignore people who come to wake them up. Hey, wake up. Advaita Acharya, nah, leave me alone. Oh, it's you? Oh, I'm trying to get rid of you. Hare Krishna, get out of here. You go back to sleep too. Let's all dream. So Advaita Acharya, he's God, and he can deliver the souls. He can't wake them up. So what does he do? He goes to the bank of the Ganges, and he offers Ganges water and tulsi leaves, and cries out to Vishnu, to Krishna, to please come and save these people. I can't do it. God can't do it. That's why we're having such a hard time doing it. You go on the street and tell people that they're not their body, and they think you're insulting them. That's the first instruction in Bhagavad Gita. What to speak of telling them that there's a God. I mean, and it's not them. This is too much. They don't believe, people in general, they don't mind thinking that there's a God as long as he gives them what they want. As long as he's the big daddy in the sky with a sled and comes down on Christmas and fills your stocking, he's all right. And if they imagine that there's a God, his job is to get nailed and suffer eternally for everything we're doing wrong. He has to take the blame. It's the credit card where you charge over your sins. You don't have to pay for them, you charge them to someone else. So these conceptions of God are not very realistic, because although people think that they're becoming free from their sinful activities, but we can see that actually the whole world is getting deeper and deeper into distress. Because people actually don't know who God is, and they don't know what the purpose of life is. They've imagined it as something which it's not. They think the very activities that are causing them distress are the very activities that will cause them happiness eventually. They've glorified all these activities, cow slaughter, illicit sex, intoxication, and gambling, speculation, as pathways to heaven. But actually we can see that there are pathways to the darkest regions of existence. So Advaita Acharya, he realizes that I'm God, I've created this place, and I can't get these people out of here. Therefore he prayed for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for Krishna to come, because actually the only thing that will save people in this age is prema, is love. People can't be commanded to get out of Maya because they think they're doing quite well. Because in the effort to become God, if you have one penny more than your neighbor has, then you're above him. Just like the general yells to the colonel yells at the major yells at the captain yells at the lieutenant yells at the sergeant yells at the corporal yells at the private, and the private goes and kicks the dog. So if we can just feel ourselves better than someone else, then we think we're all right. Our purpose is served. If we have a better, bigger family, we have more dogs in our house than anyone else, and they're prettier dogs than anyone else has on the block, we think we're actually superior. There's something to be proud about. That's what everyone in the material world is simply searching for, something to be proud about. that I may die soon, but I'm going to have the biggest grave. And people are going to come regularly and cry for me. And I'm going to stay there as a ghost and accept their offerings. My life was successful. That the fools were deriding at my descending like in a human form. But they don't know that now people are crying on my grave, and I'm enjoying it like anything. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes on the behalf of Advaita Acharya, and how does Advaita Acharya, how does he bring Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? By his loud chanting, by his loud calling for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to come. Seeing the distressed condition of the living entities, he's loudly calling, crying for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for Krishna to come. Now we ourselves, we can see the distress of the living entities in this material world, the human beings and all other living entities. And to some extent, we may be trying to help them. So that's the secret of Krishna consciousness, to actually understand how distressful it is to live in the material world in separation from Krishna. How much we have to rely upon Krishna and call out for him and his energy, Srimati Radharani, to save us. If we think we're doing all right, that's only due to false prestige and false propaganda. Because no one in the material world, from Brahma down to the meanest insect, is doing all right, and we fit in somewhere in between there. So we're probably not doing all right either. So if you think you have some problems, you're right. We've eternally had problems in the material world. Namely, we took birth here, which, although it's glorified, the stork brings the little child. Oh, so cute. But the little child has to grow up. Birth is rather unpleasant. Old age, well, you'll find out. If you make it that far. Disease, everyone is in disease. You can just look around, see everyone is trying to figure out how to put their body in such ways to make it through the class. Dis-ease, lack of ease. Half the audience is taking shelter of the wall. Others are taking shelter of the pillar. They know it's not Nishingadev's appearance day, so nothing's going to come out. And then there's death. We struggle throughout our existence. We take birth. We're screaming when we take birth. If we're not, then they slap us a few times. Hey, kid. Welcome. That's the good part of existence. We wish you a happy birthday because your first birthday wasn't so happy. And then we go through trying to figure out getting rid of our little baby teeth, trying to make sure they come in, hopefully straight, so I can spend the rest of our life at the dentist. We grow up taking tests, 1 + 1 = 3. No, you stupid. You're going to be in the first grade class forever. Your next life, you'll be back in the first grade. And then we finally make it out of school, and then you got to go to college, to work at the local grocery store. Got to get your PhD to learn how to read. Then you get married, and you have children. You play around with them for a little while, and then they turn out to be juvenile delinquents. trying to figure out how to get rid of you so they can collect their inheritance. You're hoping they were going to help you out in old age, and they're hoping you don't make it past 50. And then we grow old, and in America they have all these old age homes, and you suffer. And the people who are taking care of you suffer more than you do. So everyone's praying to leave. And then finally the glorious moment happens and you leave your body and you come back in another body. Start the whole thing over again. Baby teeth, school. And they're saying we're making progress. Progress where? To what? So Advaita Acharya, out of compassion, he comes, and Chaitanya, he calls for Krishna to come, and he tries to teach, as a super soul, that that's what we should be doing too. Is calling out, not to, if you live in the temple and you chant japa, not too loud, japa. Everyone else has to chant also. Call out loudly the holy name, so that Krishna will actually come to us. Not that, hey Krishna, I got 5 minutes, would like to come? I have a few minutes for you, if you'd like to come, I'll see you. Sorry, you're a little late, we'll see you tomorrow. No, to actually be anxious to associate with Radha and Krishna and their eternal associates in the spiritual world. To become anxious, so Advaita Acharya comes and he brings Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he calls out to him, and for that reason, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I was sleeping as Aniruddha on the ocean of milk, and you were crying out so loudly you woke me up. So I had to find out what was going on. So I came to this place, and I see what you were talking about, so I'll start the Sankirtan movement. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knows, as Advaita Acharya knew, that the only way to convince these people to surrender is to give them love, give them a higher taste, give them transcendental happiness, because they don't even want to take it. Therefore, I'm going to start the Sankirtan movement and chant the holy name. So even they don't want Krishna, they're trying to get away from him, they don't know anything about him, still I'm going to bring him, Krishna, directly to them in the form of the holy name. And for those who are fortunate, those who are more innocent than the others, those who are not convinced that they hate God or they're trying to spend their whole life to make sure that they stay God in relationship to everyone else, who are willing to give up, to recognize their actual position rather than live on the material illusory platform that I actually, compared to others, I am God. Why do people get a dog? Why do they get a cat? Why do they get a parakeet? Just like when it was warm, I was walking around this block every day, and there's one parakeet who's his whole life is just looking at the window when the window's open. And I walk by him every day, and he's just the same stare for years. What kind of happiness can you get from having a parakeet? Except for the fact you think, I am maintaining the parakeet. You know what a parakeet is? What's a parakeet? What's that? No one knows what a parakeet is? It's a bird. Well, in America they give it a more fancy name. They say parakeet. Parrots are not so important, but parakeet, that's a high-class parrot. So what kind of happens? Just the idea, I'm maintaining this parakeet parrot. All right. No, a parrot is different from a parakeet. Parrot, it actually talks to you, so it repeats words. Parakeet is just this little useless bird that looks like a parrot. You walk by, it just stares at you. It's like there's this dog our chiropractor has. Can't remember anything. We've seen it for years now. And every time it sees us, it's like the first time. So the fact is that people enjoy feeling better than everyone else, by someone. That's all. That's the material world. I am superior to you. I'm bigger than you. I'm faster than you. Or I'm smaller than you. Or I'm slower than you. I'm fatter than you, or I'm thinner than you. I'm stronger than you, or I'm weaker than you. Somehow or another, whatever we are, we think we're better than others. And that's the whole material enjoyment, practically speaking. Even eating. Here's the banana from South America. So I own part of South America in the form of this banana. I've never been there, but it came to me. And now it's offering dandavats on my plate. Just begging to merge with me. And by my mercy, I allow it to enter into the sacred realm of my mouth and fall into the fire of sacrifice. And I'm the beneficiary of the sacrifice. And by the sacrifice, I grow stronger and bigger. And therefore, I'm able to accept more apples, bananas, pears, and oranges into the sacrifice from all over the world. So although I'm not the supreme controller, but I'm getting there. So the whole material world is in that mentality, and only by the loud chanting of the holy name can actually, we wake up a little bit to find out that this whole playground that we have is a very bad game. Because here no one wins and no one breaks even. Everyone comes in the same place, dead last. We may appear to be winning the race at the beginning, but at the end of the day, everyone comes in the same place. Therefore, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes on behalf of Advaita Acharya and offers the Sankirtan movement, offers an opportunity to understand what Krishna said 5,000 years ago when he spoke the Bhagavad Gita and when he displayed his pastimes. Because we're so dull, we think it's all an illusion, that the sun's rising by accident, the sun's setting by accident, that we're eating food, it's being digested, assimilated, and unnecessary parts eliminated. Everything we think is wrong. We don't see anything in relationship to God, because we don't even see God. We think it's all an accident. It came out of nothing. People, even if they don't say that, they're living like that. And therefore, by this chanting, it wakes us up, because it gives us association with Krishna, which is the only thing that will actually wake us up, is to associate with Krishna, somehow or another. However, we may be interested or disinterested, still by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is there, although who knows where we are. As I said before, we may be seeing the pictures of the deities, and we're saying, well, that's a nice picture. I wonder who painted it. And Krishna is looking at us saying, well, that's a nice devotee. I wonder when he's going to wake up. When he's going to understand who he actually is or who she is. So the Sankirtan movement given to us by the grace of Advaita Acharya, because unless he had called out for Krishna, unless he was sincerely interested in helping the conditioned souls of this age, Krishna would not have come. Therefore, we owe a debt to Advaita Acharya, and we should take up his position as the servant of Lord Chaitanya. When Advaita Acharya saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said, I'm the servant of the servant of the servant of the devotees, as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also said, but he always said, I'm the servant of Lord Chaitanya. Although he's God, he wants to be a servant of Krishna. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would offer, because Advaita Acharya, he took birth 52 years earlier than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was 10, Advaita Acharya was over 60. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was 20, Advaita Acharya was in his 70s. So there's a big difference between someone who's 20, someone who's 30, and someone who's 80. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Advaita Acharya, he was initiated by Ishvara Puri. Actually, he was initiated by Madhavendra Puri, the spiritual master of Ishvara Puri. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would always take him as his spiritual master. But Advaita Acharya didn't like that, because he knew who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. He's the source of everything. He's the source of all ecstatic, loving exchanges. He's the complete manifestation of all loving exchanges between Radha and Krishna and their associates. So he wanted to be a servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always offering him respect all the time. So he decided, I'll do something so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will show his real position, that I'm not his master, I'm the servant of him. So Advaita Acharya did what he thought would be the quickest way to grab Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's attention. So he went to a place where there are Mayavadis, and he started to preach the Vishistadvaita philosophy, that God and the soul are one. So they came to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and said, you're Advaita Acharya, who you're worshipping all the time. He's going around now, he's teaching everyone that God and the soul are the same. What do you think about that? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became furious, and he ran to the place. And he saw Advaita Acharya, and he said, you're teaching God and the soul are the same? So he started to beat Advaita Acharya. And Advaita Acharya's wife, Sita Devi, was there and said, don't hit him, he's an old man. And Advaita Acharya was smiling, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu realized, oh, this is a trick. And Advaita Acharya is really happy. He said, now it's been exposed. I'm your servant and you're the master. In any case, the end, because we don't have so much time, we do have to take prasadam before the end of Advaita Acharya's appearance. So at the end of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was ecstatic, getting more and more ecstatic in separation from Radha and Krishna himself. The whole mood, Krishna, he left Vrindavan to put the gopis and the cowherd boys and Mother Jasoda and all the residents into separation, because that's the most ecstatic. When one's feelings towards the beloved are the most intense, is in separation. But in separation, spiritually, one actually is the closest. The more one feels separation from Krishna, the more one is intimately associated with Krishna. So even in Krishna Lila, Krishna lives in Dwarka, and he's most intensely separated from the residents of Vrindavan. And the residents of Vrindavan, they're in Vrindavan, but they feel intense separation from Krishna, although Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, because that's the highest pleasure. It's not the only pleasure, because meeting is also pleasurable, but also the meeting is also pleasurable, because also separation is pleasurable. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was feeling more and more separation, but he didn't know where to go, because the Advaita Acharya had called him here. You just can't leave when you're a guest. So Advaita Acharya realized Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission has been fulfilled. He's displayed practically all the pastimes of Radha and Krishna in this pastime. In other words, the Sankirtan movement, chanting the holy name and dancing, taking prasadam. I haven't forgotten about that. And it's all the same as Krishna Lila. What is Krishna Lila? The rasa dance, they're taking prasadam, they're talking about Krishna, they're feeling separation from Krishna. It's the exact same Lila, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Lila, so he displayed it again in a way that we can all participate. You don't even have to learn dancing. You don't even have to learn how to sing. You don't even have to learn how to take prasadam. It's all there. Even if we don't know what we're doing, which I guess we'll find out when we become Krishna conscious, what we're doing. But even we don't know, still we get the benefit in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. And even in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, even out of ignorance, we sometimes commit offenses, but they can be excused. Now in Krishna Leela, that doesn't happen. You don't come in with a prasadam to serve Radha and Krishna and spill it on them in Krishna Leela. You're out. How did he get in here? No, we can do somehow or another. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so merciful that because he's in the mood of a devotee, if we participate in worshiping Gaur Nitai, for instance, then we get all the benefit and we incur practically none of the offenses, the reactions for our offenses. Even Prabhupada wanted devotees to manufacture Gaur Nitai deities and sell them on the street, sell them to the people like we sell books. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so merciful. And Advaita Acharya, he called him here so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wouldn't leave until Advaita Acharya sent him a note, saying, a cryptic note, saying that now that the dancer has come, it's time for him to go back, to stop the dance. There's no reason for him to dance anymore. He can go back where he came from. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got the note from Advaita Acharya and said, the person who called me tells me I should go back. So Swarup Damodar, no one understood the note. I don't remember exactly what the note was. None of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's associates understood what the note was about, except for Swarup Damodar. And he realized the note meant that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would go back to the spiritual world. So everyone was wondering what's going on, and Swarup Damodar Maharaj was morose. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's ecstasy increased 1,000-fold until he disappeared, I guess, into the Toda Gopinath deity. So Advaita Acharya was instrumental for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's coming, and he was instrumental for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's leaving. But it's not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ever left, because his pastimes are still going on. This is the Sankirtan movement. As long as the Sankirtan movement goes on for the next 10,000 years, then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is available. He's also participating in it. The only reason why the Sankirtan movement works is not due to our prowess, our good looks, our intelligence, our loud singing. It only works because when we sing and we want Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to come, then he comes. And therefore the Sankirtan movement goes on. It's not going on because, just like everyone knows how disorganized the Hare Krishna movement is. Was one Mataji told me, who's the head of the, Urmila Mataji, who's the head of the Shastric Advisory Committee, all of the scholars and intellects in our movement. She said trying to organize them is like trying to herd cats. You ever try to herd cats? So everyone knows how disorganized. there's no way it's like people go to India, they realize that there's God immediately. Because there's no way this place can go on without God. Look, I mean, especially that you ride the. Do you ever see a movie or video of people driving on this road in India? There's no way it can go on unless there was a God. Isn't that right, Nietzsche? So there's no way this movement can go on unless when we chanted Hare Krishna, Krishna was there. It's the only thing that would keep us going. There's no other energy that we have. Because we go on Sankirtan and we chant Hare Krishna, Hare Nam, whatever, even in the temple, some at our home, somehow or another, when we chant, Krishna is there. So it keeps us alive, so we don't go back to deep sleep. So Advaita Acharya came, called Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he's still here in the movement. He never really left. He's just encouraging us to take part, to bring him, to keep him here, at least for the next 10,000 years. And then after that, we got all hide in the caves away from those little pygmies that are going to come and eat us. But for at least the next 10,000 years, we should try to wake up and spread the Hare Krishna movement so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu can give his mercy to the conditioned souls, and especially to the major one conditioned soul we can give mercy to, namely ourselves. So I'll stop there. Thank you very much. Kuala, Grantaraj, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande. Advaita Acharya, Sri Advaita Acharya ki jai, Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, hvala lepa za krasno lekcijo. Krasno je, ko Maharaj vedno tako odke v lekcije še svoj humor, tak poseben, in nas nasmeji. Sledi še najava prihajajočih srečanj oziroma festivalov. Že čez 2 dni bomo imeli nedeljsko srečanje, kjer nas bo navdihoval z lekcijo Durlaba Gaura Hari Prabhu z naslovom o slavah Šrimad Bhagavatama. Ja, še en. Ja, to mi pa niso povedali. Ja, še en daršan bo, ja, nisem vedela. Ja.
Samasitam Buddha Sundaranam Kandar Ako Ikamaniyam Vishesha Shobham